Hi everybody, welcome back to Nature Kids, and today we'll be doing Geography Grade 7 second term questions and answers. So practically this isn't a lesson, it's more of a revision thing. Anywho, who cares about that? Let's get started. What? The paper. Practically the paper, you're suffering everything. Let's just get started with that. Why is the earth considered as a marvelous creation of nature? Answer: because it has air, water, and a congenial environment for living beings. What is the Earth's movement around its own axis called? Answer: rotation. What is the Earth's journey around the Sun called? Revolution. How long does the Earth take to complete one rotation? 24 hours or 1 day? How long does the Earth take to complete one revolution? Answer: 365 days or 1 year. What is the shape of the Earth? Answer: the Earth is a spherical object. How has the spherical shape of the Earth been proved? By observing photographs taken from space. Why is the Earth not a full sphere? Because it is flat at the polar regions and at the equatorial circumference is larger than the polar circumference. What is the equatorial diameter of the Earth? Answer: 12,757 kilometers. What is the polar diameter of the Earth? Answer: 12,714 kilometers. Again, that was not square kilometers, it was just kilometers. Both of them, they are not square kilometers, both of them are just kilometers. Do not get that mixed up. What is the equatorial circumference of the Earth? 40,077 kilometers. What is the polar circumference of the Earth? 39,943 kilometers. What is the surface area of the Earth? Answer: 510 million square kilometers. See, now we put square because this is the area. What are the latitudes and longitudes? Answer: they are imaginary lines drawn on the geographical globe. What are the lines drawn horizontally from west to east called? Answer: latitudes. What are the lines drawn vertically from north to south called? Answer: longitudes. What is the northern part of the equator called? Answer: the northern hemisphere. What is the southern part of the equator called? Answer: the southern hemisphere. How many continents are there on the Earth? Answer: there are 7 continents. So we're already done with 20 questions. Now for more questions. Eternal suffering. Great. Anyway, 20th question is: how many oceans are there in the world? Answer: there are 5 oceans: Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Antarctic, Southern Ocean, and Arctic Ocean. What are the names of the 7 continents? Answer: the 7 continents are Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. What is meant by relative location? Answer: relative location is the position of a place shown in relative to the lands, seas, oceans, and other places surrounding it. Where is Sri Lanka located? Sri Lanka is located in the Indian Ocean, close to the Indian subcontinent. Name the islands located in the Indian Ocean other than Sri Lanka. Answer: the other islands located in the Indian Ocean are Maldives, Andaman Islands, Nicobar Islands, and Lakshadweep Islands. What is the territorial sea limit of Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka has a territorial sea limit of 12 nautical miles from its coast. What lies beyond Sri Lanka's territorial sea? Answer: beyond the territorial sea lies the Exclusive Economic Zone, also known as EEZ, and adjoining sea areas. Name the major landforms found in Sri Lanka. Answer. The major landforms of Sri Lanka are the central mountainous region, the intermediate plains, and the coastal plains. What features emphasize the geographical identity of Sri Lanka? Answer. The geographical identity of Sri Lanka is emphasized by its scenic beauty. Different relief systems and favorable climatic conditions also emphasizes the geographical identity of Sri Lanka. You get the point. Why do many tourists visit Sri Lanka? Answer. Tourists are attracted to Sri Lanka because of its diverse relief features and favorable climate. In which climate zone is Sri Lanka located? Answer. Sri Lanka is located in the tropical zone. What is the average temperature in Sri Lanka throughout the year? The average temperature in Sri Lanka ranges between 20 Celsius and 30 Celsius. What are the main types of rainfall received by Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka receives rainfall mainly through monsoon rain, convectional rain, and cyclones. During which months does Sri Lanka receive southwest monsoon rain, and which areas are affected? Answer. Southwest monsoon rain occurs during May, June, July, and mainly affect the western and southwestern parts of Sri Lanka. During which months does the northeast monsoon bring rain, and which region receives it? Answer. The northeast monsoon occurs during November, December, and January, and brings heavy rainfall to the northern and eastern parts of Sri Lanka. What are the characteristics of convectional rain? Answer. Convectional rain occurs mainly during March, April, September, and October, is usually accompanied by thunder and lightning, occurs in many parts of the country, decreases when monsoon rain becomes stronger. What causes cyclonic rain? During which months does it occur? Practically, that's the question. Answer. Cyclonic rain is caused by cyclones. Obviously, that's in the name. What? Why are we? Anyway, forming in the Bay of Bengal. It occurs mainly during October, November, and December and brings heavy rain with strong winds. What are the three main types of rainfall received by Sri Lanka and why are they important? Answer. The three main types of rainfall in Sri Lanka are monsoon rain, southwest and northeast monsoons, convectional rain, cyclonic rain, and these rainfall patterns are important because they provide water for agriculture, reservoirs, and daily life throughout the year. During which months does Sri Lanka usually experience dry weather and what do farmers do during this period? Answer. Sri Lanka usually experiences dry weather in February and August, and farmers harvest their paddy during this period. What types of vegetation are found in different parts of Sri Lanka? Answer. Dense forests grow in wet areas, grasslands and patanas are formed in higher regions, thorny shrubs grow in dry areas, and mangroves are common near lagoons and river mouths. Good thing is we're almost done with the eternal suffering. I am suffering as well, people. I do not like to make people suffer. Anyway, why is Sri Lanka considered a country with diverse landscape? Answer. Within a short distance of about 70 kilometers, visitors can observe different landscapes, climates, and vegetation. Why is Sri Lanka called a multi-racial, multi-religious, and multicultural country? Answer. Sri Lanka is home to Sinhalese, Tamils, Moors, and Burghers who follow Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, and Christianity, each with its own traditions, customs, and languages. Into what two categories are World Heritage Sites in Sri Lanka divided into? Answers. Natural heritage and man-made heritage. Where do the indigenous people of Sri Lanka mainly live? And how do they traditionally earn their living? They mainly live in Dambana, Mahiyangane, and Hinanigala. Hinanigala. Get that? Hinanigala. Okay? And traditionally earn their living through farming, hunting, and collecting forest products. How do the indigenous people contribute to Sri Lanka? Answer: they help preserve Sri Lanka's cultural heritage and protect the natural environment. GG. Name 4 important cultural and religious festivals celebrated in Sri Lanka. Answer: 4 important festivals are Vesak and Poson, Sinhala and Tamil New Year, Deepavali, Christmas. Other examples include Ramadan, the Madhu festival, and the Kandi Asala Perahan. What do Sri Lanka's festivals and traditions reflect? They reflect the country's rich cultural diversity and unity inherited from different ethnic groups and religions. How is Sri Lanka recognized in South Asia? Sri Lanka is recognized as one of the most socially developed countries in South Asia. Well, who knows? Maybe yeah. I don't know much. I am not the all-seeing eye. Maybe this is true, but I have not heard of this. I have not heard of this. I am so sorry. Anyway, what is the total area of Sri Lanka? Answer: Sri Lanka has an area of about 65,610 square kilometers. Where is the hill country landscape of Sri Lanka found? It is found in areas above 300 meters above sea level, mainly in the Central Hills and the Sabaragamu Hills. What are the main physical features of the hill country? Answer: the hill country has mountains, valleys, and steep slopes. In which parts of Sri Lanka is the dry zone landscape mainly found? Answer: the dry zone is mainly found in northern, northern central, eastern, and southeastern parts of Sri Lanka. What are the climatic characteristics of the dry zone? Answer: dry zone experiences high temperatures, low and uncertain rainfall, severe droughts, and high evaporation. Name 4 important residual hills found in the dry zone. Answer: Sigiriya, Dambulla, Retigala, and Kataragama. What was Sigiriya used for in ancient times? Sigiriya was used as an ancient fortress. Damn, did not know that. Okay, I did know that, but yeah. Fun fact of the day. What are the main human features of the dry zone? Large tanks and reservoirs for irrigation, paddy cultivation, rice mills and rice flour industries, planned settlements under the Mahali project, Chaina cultivation. What are the common features of Chaina lands? Chaina lands often include stick fences, small huts, and rain-fed crops. Where is the wet zone landscape found in Sri Lanka? The wet zone is found in the southwestern, western, and eastern slopes of the Central Hills. What are the physical features of the wet zone? The wet zone has flatlands and ridges, rivers and marshes, dense vegetation, rich biodiversity, and fertile floodplains. Which river valley is used for vegetable cultivation under the Koratua method? Answer: the Kalani River Valley is used for vegetable cultivation under the Koratua method. What are the major agricultural activities in the wet zone? The major agricultural activities are coconut cultivation in coastal areas, paddy cultivation in river valleys, and tea and rubber plantations on mountain slopes. Name 4 major cities and towns in the wet zone. Answer: Colombo, Gampa, Gol, Kandy. Other examples include Matara, Negombo, and Kalutara. Name 2 free trade zones and 2 industrial areas in Sri Lanka. Answer: free trade zones include Katnayaka and Kogala. Industrial areas Ratmalana, and Ekala. What are the two most important cities in the wet zone? Answer: Sri Jayawardenepura Kotte, administrative capital, and Colombo, commercial capital. Why is the wet zone considered the most developed region of Sri Lanka? Answer: because it has rich natural resources, advanced infrastructure, and high population density. What type of landscapes are commonly found in the rapidly developing planned towns? Answer: a mixture of urban and rural landscapes. Name two environmental problems found in the wet zone. Answer: deforestation and landslides. What causes the drying of groundwater sources in some areas? Answer: excessive use of groundwater and environmental degradation. Where is the Jaffna Peninsula and Islands region located? Answer: it is located in the northern province of Sri Lanka. Name three islands that belong to the Jaffna Peninsula and Island region. Answer: Delph Islands, Kites, and Nainatubu. What are the main physical features of Jaffna Peninsula? Answer: flatlands, lagoons, sandy areas, red soil, limestone soil, and abundant underground water resources. On what do farmers in the Jaffna Peninsula mainly depend for agriculture? Answer: they mainly depend on underground water. Let me breathe for a second, people. I need oxygen. Okay, oxygen taken. So 72 is: what are four important crops grown in the Jaffna Peninsula? Answer: potatoes, chilies, red onions, and beetroot. What are the main fruits grown in the Jaffna Peninsula? Answer: grapes, mangoes, and bananas. Name two important economic activities in the Jaffna Peninsula and Islands region. Answer: coastal fishing and salt production. How are Palmyra palms useful to the people of Jaffna? They are used for roofing houses, making fences, producing food items, and making handicrafts and household goods. Which famous Hindu temple is found in Jaffna? Nallur Temple. Name four famous tourist attractions in the coastal zone of Sri Lanka: Hikkaduwa, Unawatuna, Pasikuda, and Arugam Bay. What human activities have damaged some coastal areas of Sri Lanka? Answer: coral mining and sand removal have damaged some coastal areas. During which period most tourists visit Sri Lanka? Answer: November to March. That's all for today, guys. Ended my eternal suffering, and your eternal suffering has also been ended for now. Yes, there is more, and I hope if I'm going down, you're going down with me. You hear me right through that screen. You are going down with me if I have to do this. So be prepared to die if we have to. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video, which I will probably be dying, and so will you, very painfully. Anyway, until then, bye.